We've all been there. It's getting late, but you still get the urge to order an espresso martini. You love the taste, or you just want to feel like an 80s supermodel. Either way, in the back of your mind, you probably know that caffeine at this hour isn't a great idea. There's great sides to coffee, of course, and the taste of an espresso martini is for sure one of them. But there's also possible side effects, like increased heart rate, anxiety and nervousness, jittery hands, faster speech, digestive issues, and of course, disrupted sleep. You'll find yourself thinking, there has got to be a better way. There is, and since this is cocktail time, we're not just throwing in decaf coffee and call it a day. I'll show you how I used two different coffee substitutes, chicory and acorn, to create a delicious, caffeine-free, fall-inspired twist on the espresso martini for a cocktail menu a few years ago. It was quite a hit, but I still improved a few things after finding the recipe in my notebooks. Like I said in the Cocktail Hacks episode, always write down what you're making, so you can improve and evolve in the future. Speaking of the future, if you'd like to get notified when future episodes drop, subscribe below and hit the bell icon. But now,
it's cocktail time!
The tune you heard in the intro is a new Cocktail Time song we're working on. The whole song will be available to our patrons for download as a part of the updated perks we're working on for the most supportive friends of cocktails out there. And something I'm always working on is finding great cocktails to share with all of you. So I was happy to stumble upon one of my favorite creations from working behind the bar. Here's what you'll need to make the Nightfall Espresso Martini. Two key ingredients will be acorn coffee liqueur in place of Kahlua and chicory coffee in place of espresso. I'm also going with Jameson Black Barrel as the base in place of vodka. Because why not? For sweetness, I'm using maple syrup for those added fall notes, and saline solution to boost all of the flavors. I'll also add super foam to get that foamy crown that espresso martini is known for, but that's optional. Coffee alternatives were usually needed during times when coffee trade was limited, like World War II, American Civil War, or the Continental Blockade by Napoleon. That's when roasted and ground acorns, chicory, and grain were mostly used. Let's first make these two interesting ingredients. Then we'll mention some other alternatives. To make the acorn liqueur, you'll of course need acorn coffee substitute, which is typically made with a blend of ground acorns and spices. For the base, I'll use the classic Jameson Irish whiskey, which will pair the liqueur with the cocktail as well. To make it a liqueur, we'll also need water and sugar. This time, I mixed with demerara and white sugar. And for spices, I'm adding Ceylon cinnamon, cocoa beans, and vanilla. This will of course be done with a sous vide. So into a bag, add all of the ingredients, starting with 350 ml of Jameson, followed by 125 ml or grams of water. Next, 80 grams each of the demerara sugar and white sugar, so 160 grams combined. Ceylon cinnamon is easily crushed by hand, so 0.3 grams of crushed cinnamon, followed by 1.6 grams of lightly crushed cacao beans. These were already crushed, otherwise use a mortar and a pestle. And lastly, 0.8 grams of a vanilla bean. As always, split it lengthwise and scrape out the seeds for a better infusion of the liqueur. Vacuum seal the bag with a double seal as always, to prevent any leaks. Place it in the sous vide bath, set to 70 degrees Celsius or 160 Fahrenheit, and let this cook for 3 hours. Give the bag a shake once or twice in between. Once it's done, chill the bag first, then cut it open and strain out our non-coffee liqueur. You know the drill with DIY liqueurs by now, since we've created a whole playlist's worth of them. Bottle, add a label, and give it a taste to enjoy the fruits of your labor. We made a rich, full-bodied liqueur with notes of coffee, nuts, and spices. The tannins will work well in the espresso martini. If you want less of them, cook the liqueur with a higher temperature for a short time. But we're not quite done yet. We still need to brew chicory coffee. I'll do that with a classic pour-over procedure. First, I'll dampen the coffee filter, pour out the water, then add 25 grams of ground chicory and cover it with 80 grams of water. Then let it bloom. Stir and let it sit for a few seconds. Then pour the remaining water, this time to 120 grams. Once the chicory coffee has filtered through, let it cool completely and it's ready to be used for our cocktail. If you can't get your hands on ground chicory and acorn, there are plenty of other coffee alternatives, like barley, rye, dandelion, and even peanut coffee. I have to warn you though, James Hoffmann, the king of coffee on YouTube, is not a fan.
Ooh. No, that is nothing like coffee to me. I don't like it.
But today's cocktail though, I think even he would enjoy it. Let's make the Nightfall Espresso Martini. As always with a shaking cocktail, I like to start with a chilled shaker. The standard coupe glass is of course already waiting in the freezer. Into the shaker I'm first adding 1.5 ounce or 45 ml of Jameson Black Barrel Irish whiskey. With plenty of nutty notes and spices, it will pair nicely with our next ingredient, 1.25 ounce or 37.5 ml of acorn liqueur. Follow that with the same amount, 1.25 ounce or 37.5 ml of caffeine-free chicory coffee. For sweetness I'm adding 1/4 ounce or 7.5 ml of maple syrup. This will go back in the fridge with all my other syrups. Next is the optional, 1/4 ounce or 7.5 ml of super foam, our DIY vegan foamer, that will give the cocktail a nice foamy head and a nice mouthfeel. Lastly, add 2 drops of 20% saline solution to enhance all of the flavors, like salt dust in cooking as well. Instead of doing a dry shake, I'll froth off the cocktail with one of my favorite cocktail hacks, a milk frother. Then add plenty of ice and give the cocktail a good shake to chill and dilute. Double strain into the chilled coupe glass to keep out any bits of ice and to make sure it really has that classic espresso martini look. Garnish with 3 coffee beans, caffeinated or decaf, your choice. It won't really affect the drink. It does look good though. Creamy, rich, decadent, with a wonderful burnt caramel note. It's even better than I remember it, and an ideal alternative to the espresso martini. With that, we reach the bottom of the glass. Post a hot beverage emoji in the comments to let me know you managed to stay awake until the end of the episode, even without caffeine. I mentioned a few coffee alternatives before, and its biggest rival is certainly tea. To see how I made a rooibos version of the espresso martini, check out this video. For a caffeinated cold brew version, click here. And I'll see you next time, friends of cocktails.